What if I told you, ladies and gentlemen, that Blueface's mother is the true enemy in his life rather than fame, wealth, or music? Yes, you heard correctly. The mother who brought him up is now the one preventing him from seeing Chrisean Rock, the woman he says he can't stop thinking about. The internet is going crazy after what happened this week because it seems like Blueface has finally lost it. Rumor has it that he had a furious altercation with his mother that rocked the whole house. And it had nothing to do with opinions or influence this time. It has to do with love, remorse, or perhaps both. So allow me to ask you a question. Upon realizing that he has ruined the last person who genuinely cared for him, what happens to a guy who made his name in chaos? When his own brother steps in as the voice of reason and tells him, "Bro, Chrisean wasn't the problem," what happens? You were. Insiders said that Blueface's brother sat him down and told him the truth that no one else dared to utter. The exchange started a fire so hot that Blueface's mother was unable to breathe the smoke. Screaming bouts, betrayed trust, and an unexpected outpouring of remorse from the same man who claimed to have moved on are all on the table. Here's the twist though. Has Blueface truly changed his mind? Or is this just another devious PR ploy to salvage his reputation before things go totally wrong? The events that are about to transpire could be the most combustible chapter in this unstable family's history, so stay put. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for something straight out of a soap opera. What's going on inside the Blueface family right now? Blueface, the self-described face of controversy and walking news machine, is once again under fire if Zeus wrote that soap opera and the devil himself directed it. But this time, a baby mom is involved, not a fight at a club, drama, or a mugshot that goes viral. This time, however, the internet is being torn apart by a mother-son conflict and family betrayal. Let's take a moment to turn back time on this mess. Because to know why Blueface is yelling at his mother like he's trying out for Who Destroyed My Family, a reality show, we were able to return to the starting point. Fans have been following the never-ending Blueface versus Chrisean Rock story for months, much like an unending Netflix series. It has been total emotional carnage, from hospital visits to matching tattoos, from public altercations to Instagram live breakups. However, fans constantly laid the finger at Blueface's mom, Chrisean Rock, as the villain. As everyone familiar with social media knows, Chrisean doesn't hold back. She has a tendency to share family secrets on Instagram before breakfast, going live faster than you can blink. She has also been disparaging Chrisean lately as if it were a new pastime. There is always a fresh jab at the girl her son formerly professed to adore in every post and narrative. Here's the problem though. Cully Miller, Blueface's own brother, has had enough. Additionally, according to family insiders, he sat Blueface down and bluntly informed him, "Bro, it's not Chrisean but mom that is tearing this family apart." And that was the spark that started the fire, my friends. Because Blueface's thinking seems to have snapped after that chat. It dawned on the man who had previously labeled Chrisean toxic that perhaps, just possibly, he was the issue all along. According to insiders, Blueface became quiet for a few days. Just silence, no rambling postings, no tweets, no subtweets. And if you spent even a week following this man, you are aware of how frightening Blueface's quiet is. It is comparable to the quiet before a storm. Then, suddenly, it took place. Blueface and his mother got into a heated disagreement over dinner that ended with smashed glass and banged doors, according to an unnamed insider who says they were in the house when it happened. According to the source, Blueface was informed by Chrisean, "You're weak for wanting her back. You were humiliated by that girl." Instead of leaving, Blueface got up and said something that made everyone unable to speak. "You embarrassed me first," he remarked. A pin could have been dropped. According to the insider, Blueface lost it and yelled that his mother had been manipulating him for months, turning him against his child's mother, making everything about herself, and exploiting his turmoil to get views and clicks. It gets dark at this point. Blueface is supposed to have remarked, "You exploited me for clout too." Now, we'll never know if that's true or not. We do know, however, that his brother's remarks struck him more forcefully than any diss track ever could. Because Blueface began to realize that the people he believed were defending him might perhaps be doing the exact opposite. And let's not act like this was a private family counseling session. Oh no, tears were poured, voices were raised, and the walls were trembling, according to the same source. Here's the worst part though. Blueface has previously lost his temper with his mother. This has been simmering for years, oh no. Do you recall the famous altercation between Carissa and Chrisean in Blueface house in 2022? All of that changed on that day. When Carissa allegedly attempted to check Chrisean, it escalated into a full-fledged fight that security had to break up. The two women have been engaged in a never-ending battle ever since. One is struggling for control, the other for love. In the present, Blueface's brother expresses his dissatisfaction with witnessing his family's self-destruction. "Man," he reportedly said to Blueface, "you're blaming the wrong person. Mom wanted to own you and Chrisean only wanted to adore you." That line alone is famous. The next thing we know, Blueface is out there expressing regret for the way things transpired with Chrisean, proving that it lingered with him. Yes, it is said that Blueface, who made fun of her on social media, is now expressing regret in private. A close acquaintance claims that Blueface texted Chrisean late at night with the words, "I should have listened to you instead of them." It's still unclear if she responded or not, but it means a lot that he's making the effort to reach out. You can know that Carissa didn't take it lightly since. According to reports, she lost it when she discovered her son was speaking to Chrisean once more. She allegedly accused him of insulting his mother, betraying the family, and once again succumbing to influence. But what if Chrisean never did the manipulation? Fans are currently asking that question. Due to the polarization of social media, half of the followers support Blueface's mother, claiming that she is merely defending her son, while the other half accuse her of being the true antagonist causing all of this trouble. Somewhere in the midst, Blueface comes to the realization that perhaps, just possibly, the people who advised him to cut Chrisean off were acting in their own interests rather than his. What occurs, though, when that insight dawns? What occurs when a man who has spent his entire life under control chooses to regain authority? The situation changes at that point. Because everything changed after that. Everything altered with what followed? Because this small family feud wasn't something Blueface kept to himself. Oh no, he brought it directly before the public opinion court. Live on Instagram, indeed. Gentlemen and ladies, the man who once declaring, "I don't argue online." He went live for more than 40 minutes, pacing his home and revealing all of his family's problems as if he were trying out for the upcoming season of Love and Hip Hop, the dysfunctional version. The performance began quietly, with merely Blueface smoking and appearing exhausted. His words, "Y'all think Chrisean was the problem?" come out of nowhere. "No, my own people were involved." Boom, the internet exploded. That video clip became viral in a matter of seconds. Hollywood unlocks once the Shade Room reopened. All the gossip sites you can think of. The fans were taken aback. Did Blueface really criticize his own relatives? Then he stepped up his efforts. "For months, my mother has been discussing me on live TV. I didn't say anything, but she's angry now. My goal is to make amends with my baby mama." How logical that is. The comment section went crazy. At last, he notices it. It took him long enough to wake up, brothers. But his mother was already loading her answer while fans applauded Blueface's redemption narrative, Carissa. She also went live in less than 20 minutes. And Carissa's live performance was absolutely explosive, if you thought Blueface's was dramatic. "Do you think that girl loves you?" she asked, staring directly into the camera. "She adores your notoriety. That rubbish was implanted in your mind by your brother. Son, you are the only one ruining this family." Then she chuckled. A calculating, chilly laugh. "You don't know over my desire to father my child. You guys are strange, dude." Once more, fans went crazy. There are TikToks, duets, and screenshots everywhere. The whole internet turned into a battleground. Hashtag team versus hashtag team LF Ace. The so-called voice of reason, his brother Kali, attempted to put out the fire in the interim, but it was too late. "Sometimes the truth hurt," he wrote in a narrative he posted. "I advised him to quit allowing others to dictate to him. Look, they're crazy now." Carissa abruptly unfollowed both of her sons, causing her family to be publicly destroyed. This is where things start to get very wild. The same people who seem to be everywhere at all times claim that Blueface wasn't just angry, he was broken. He allegedly sent his mother a lengthy text message following the live performance, stating, "I love you, but I can't keep choosing your ego over my peace." She seemed to respond with the single word, "grateful." That was the last straw. According to insiders, Blueface told his brother, "I'm done," packed his bag, and departed the house. "All I want to do is visit my son and speak with Chrisean." Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the absurd irony here. Blueface had been making fun of Chrisean online and calling her unstable for months. Now, though, he is the one after her. Fans also began to notice it. The man who went viral after being evicted from his home was now tweeting incoherently about forgiveness and true love. A previous piece stated, "Sometimes the ones you think are protecting you are really protecting themselves from losing control." It was instantly seen by fans as a jab at his mother. Carissa, however, was not giving up. Blueface disrespected the woman who gave him life, she said during her tearful third live performance of the week. However, people were no longer purchasing it. The remarks were harsh. "You psychologically damaged the boy. You made him hostile against everyone. For once, let him be content." At that point, Blueface's brother made the decision to return. On X, formerly Twitter, he boldly posted, "Family, don't gaslight family." He is free to mend his relationship with his child's mother if he so chooses. For a period. In our case, that tweet received 1 million impressions. He was referred to as the family's realist by fans. However, things were much more intense behind the scenes. According to family sources, Carissa called Blueface several times, but he didn't pick up. She even reportedly turned up at his house without warning, rapping on the door and shouting, "You're going to regret this." Security was summoned by neighbors. It was that awful. Now, before you respond, no way. Keep in mind that this is the same family that has often gone viral for flinging their hands on camera. So yes, their love language is chaos. It wasn't hilarious this time though. Quite wasn't it? It hurt. Actual suffering. Because Blueface had been covertly seeing his kid once more, something the public was unaware of. He had been paying him discreet visits in an attempt to resume a normal life. And according to reports, he finally broke down and said the words that no one had ever imagined hearing from him during one of those trips. "I made a mistake. The one person who wished to have a genuine relationship with me was pushed away by me." And among close friends and family, that disclosure caught on like wildfire. It was leaked to a gossip blog by someone, most likely that same insider who never sleeps. And presto, another sensational headline. Blueface acknowledged regret. "I should not have let my mother dictate to me." Now, it doesn't matter if he actually stated that. The internet took it at face value. And once something is believed by the internet, it becomes true. All of a sudden, Blueface's name was not popular for another altercation or arrest. The tendency was redemption. It became known as his way up moment. According to other followers, this was the first time they had ever seen him behave like a real person rather than a meme. Some claimed it was all a lie. Another PR gimmick to improve his reputation. But one thing was evident beneath all the rumors. There was a genuine shift in Blueface. He had had enough of playing the part. He's finished letting his mother steer the conversation. He's done acting indifferent. At that point, the situation reached its most combustible state. Because Blueface was preparing something that would surprise everyone, even his mother, while the internet debated if he was actually changing. Social media would go crazy over such a daring and heartfelt move. And it all began when Chrisean Rock received a late-night phone call. It began with a straightforward phone call. Blueface nearly missed that one call. An individual close to Chrisean said that at midnight, her phone began to ring while she was asleep. She froze when she saw his name on the screen. Blueface was phoning her after all of the turmoil, heartache, and embarrassment. She initially let it ring and ignored it. However, it rang 3 times in a row. "What do you want, Blue?" she replied. Her tone was icy, aloof, and defensive. "The sound you make after you've shed all the tears you can." The same insider also claims that Blueface didn't begin with charm or justifications. He only made one statement. "Rock, I made a mistake. That's all." For statements that caused the internet to go into hours later. Chrisean was in a panic because someone close to his circle had surreptitiously captured that one vulnerable moment during that call. The audio began to circulate like wildfire, but no one knows who released it. "I let people get in my head," Blueface remarked, his voice shaking on the video. "I can no longer even recognize myself because I allowed my mother to make me despise you." It was uncooked. It was authentic. It was also startling. The man who had earlier made fun of her tears was now pleading for her pardon. And she didn't shout, "Chrisean." She did not return the clap. "You don't get to say sorry once the damage is done," she added gently. This time, however, Blueface was not going to back down. He expressed his desire to put things right. For their son and their family, not for attention or fame. In that instant, Blueface sounded human for the first time in years. The tape had been on all of the main gossip pages by morning. Everywhere, headlines cried out, "Chrisean Rock's impassioned call is broken by Blueface. We were ruined by my mother." Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter were all overflowing with responses. Some referred to it as growth. Everyone agreed that this was a new side of Blueface, even though some dubbed it gaslighting 2.0. Blueface's mother, Carissa, was incensed in the meanwhile. "That ain't my son talking," she said as she went live again after seeing the video online. "It's manipulation. He was brainwashed again by that chick." However, nobody paid attention this time. The remarks weren't in her favor for the first time. Messages like, "He's trying to be a father," were all over them. "Permit him? You can't keep your son under control forever. You made him into the person you're now upset with." And she was deeply affected by that. According to insiders, Carissa called Blueface nonstop throughout the day to demand that he stop embarrassing the family. He didn't answer. Rather, Blueface fell silent once more. It wasn't the quiet before a storm this time, though. It was the quiet of a person at last at rest. In a mysterious tweet, he stated, "Sometimes healing means walking away from the ones who taught you how to hurt." With 500,000 likes in a matter of hours, it became viral. The fans were taken aback. Blueface wasn't picking fights, trolling, or making jokes. He was thinking. Then the bombshell was dropped. He arrived at Chrisean's house. Outside her house, paparazzi cameras captured him clutching a tiny toy that rattled their infants. Blueface was waiting there without any drama, an entourage, or gaudy jewelry. The tension was high when Chrisean eventually went outside. She was clearly undecided about whether to slam the door or give him a hug. "I just want to see my son," Blueface remarked, handing her the rattle without saying anything else. No cameras, no yelling, just silence. A witness claims that Chrisean let him enter, and the mayhem that has characterized their story vanished for a few hours. For the first time in years, Blueface appeared to be a man who remembered his past self as he played with his son and laughed. Word quickly got out. Chrisean and Blueface were spotted together once more. The paparazzi flooded in. Blogs were exploding. However, what the internet viewed was not the most important thing. It was what they failed to notice. According to reports, Blueface was attempting to establish limits with his mother behind the scenes. "I'm done picking sides," he informed her. "You will either lose me or respect my choices." Additionally, that bet because Carissa didn't take it well. That one sentence may be the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. She shared another tearful live video on social media, claiming that she reared her kid by herself and that he is allowing a girl to ruin everything. This time, however, there was no longer any sympathy. The comments section completely turned on her. "You're demonstrating his argument. All he wants is peace. Control is your obsession." Fans then understood that a significant change had occurred. The internet, which formerly ridiculed Chrisean and admired Blueface's comedic drama, witnessed the actual tragedy. A man caught between devotion and love. At last, he realized that his own mother might have been the one behind it. The following week, Blueface issued a brief, nearly cryptic statement via his crew. "Family businesses are now kept private. All I want is to be a better dad." And nobody laughed for the first time in a long time. They honored it. Chrisean even made a modest post on her tail. The word growth and Anne. Modest post on her tail. The word growth and Anne.